I'd say we just had a more traditional British tea experience, but what does that even mean? The good, the bad, the ugly, and the yummy of afternoon tea, Alliston, Ontario edition. The British Shop and Tea Room in Alliston, Ontario, Canada. Of course I'll give you my star rating at the end. The good. For me, the good here was that this felt like a more traditional British afternoon tea. I say that because the savories were all simple sandwiches but tasty, the scones were very British, and the sweets were larger-sized cakes. Let me go into more detail to explain. From the savory tier, each guest got 4 finger sandwiches, 1 cucumber cream cheese, and we got 2 ham and cheese because I asked for no salmon, and also an egg salad. So these 4 types of sammies are very classic. 2 different kinds of breads, crusts mostly cut off, and for me the best one was the sharp cheddar and ham. That cheese was delicious. From the next tier, each guest got 2 scones, a plain scone and a mixed raisin scone. They were served with individual pots of jam and real, clotted cream. The server said that it was the green label jar when I asked. Yay, you know I'm happy at this point. So these scones were round and pretty hard, which is a traditional British shape and consistency in my limited experience. Most places here in North America serve a more cakey and or flaky scone, but these were not that. They weren't my personal favorite, but they were traditional. There were 2 for each of us, and it was served with the proper accompaniments, so I certainly can't knock that. And finally, for the sweets, each guest got to choose 3 from the 6 sweets that were served. If you've watched some of my other videos, you know that I do not like that, having to decide who gets which desserts. I may sound like a broken record here, but each guest should get each item. No sharing and no figuring out who gets what. In this case, I made the decision for each of us, but the cakes were large enough that we ended up sharing bites of each other's. We are married, so it's fine to share forks and cake. I found that the size and the cake offering to also be akin to a couple of the teas I had in Britain. This is a tea that we had in Bath, and when we get to the sweet tier, you'll see that we each had 1 large slice of cake. I recall that we even got to choose these flavors of cake, and then when we were in Stratford-upon-Avon, I got this large piece of cake with my afternoon tea, and then even in London, England, when we were at this quaint little tea shop called Tea Darling, we were served these larger-sized cakes with our afternoon tea. So this offering of sweets in Alliston, these larger cakes, as opposed to petite fours, brownies, tarts, and things that were served here, seemed to be a more traditional British way for afternoon tea. Overall, the British feeling of this afternoon tea was the good aspect here.